and welcome to number 40 of Travels Around My Bedroom. Already 40. It's a bit crazy. So we're back in the States, and when I went back to the States, actually, I was in a very, very bad place. I went to Princeton. Amazing place. Absolutely fell in love with it. Would love to live in Princeton. But I went there because I just came out of I wasn't out. I was right in the middle of an incredibly painful breakup. And a friend of mine, Lithuanian friend of mine, Giedre, invited me to stay with her in Princeton for a month. So I don't know if you've ever traveled somewhere and you're not all there. You know, your intellectual capacities and your emotional capacities are somewhat clouded by what is happening to you. And that's exactly where I was when I arrived in Princeton. I wasn't myself, and I wasn't the friend or the person that my friend knew. Yeah, I wasn't bubbly Carol. I was just absolutely felt absolutely terrible, and I remember packing. I couldn't pack. I just couldn't make any decision whatsoever. So I went with, I think the maximum was 23 kilos of luggage, and I only needed really kind of like 5, especially of clothes. I brought all my nice dresses because I thought it would be a great idea to go and meet, lecturers and all the academic people of Princeton. And of course, I arrived in July and they had all gone. So the town was pretty desert, and my friend was working, and I was just on my own. And I had work. I had a translation job to do, but I was in such disarray. It was crazy. Now, I remember the one thing that shocked me when I arrived was the air conditioning, because it was very hot. But we don't have air conditioning in Europe. Like, it's hot. You just have to live with it. So I arrived then, and I love the warmth. I mean, I love being hot. And I couldn't believe the temperature in the house was Alaskan. And I was freezing my butt. And of course, I hadn't brought any clothes for that. And I remember like opening the windows in order to let the fresh air come in and to have some warmth in the house. And my friend getting completely berserk because this is the state of mind that I was in. I did not even realize how air conditioning worked. I didn't realize how much energy it was consuming. I didn't understand that if I opened the window, it would have to work double the strength. My brain cells were absolutely and entirely dead. I'd love to know if you've ever, I'll ask the question now, I'd love to know if you've ever traveled under those circumstances and then felt that you were doing things that were really stupid, but it's like you could almost not change them. So I remember going with her to the supermarket and buying food, and how also everything was packed for like people who eat in humongous proportions. The bags for the vegetables were like massive, and I just wanted to buy food for myself, for 1 week, and the chicken wings and not the chicken wings, but because I don't eat chicken wings normally, like the chicken fillets, or the chicken portions were for people that were twice my size, and And it was just crazy. And especially because I had arrived and I had lost a lot of, well, I had lost a stone, 7 kilos, just because I went through the breakup. And, and yesterday, I was talking about shops in New York. And when I was in New York, I went to the Gap, yes, because again, that's like that was a mythical brand at the time. And I saw that they had something called like a size 0. And at the time, I was much bigger. So, I've lost, I know I mentioned it in one of the videos, but I lost, 3 stones when I became 30. And actually that gave me the idea that tomorrow I will speak to you about what spurred me, because it has to do with travel, to lose weight. But in that case, I lost that 1 stone because of a heartbreak, which actually is a fantastic recipe if you want to lose weight. I wouldn't want to wish it on anyone, but it works. That's, 100%, target achieved without having a target anyway. One of the, kind of most painful, moment of being in Princeton was to one day wake up and be in front of the mirror and realize that I had lost virtually half of my breast, because I was much heavier when I grew up. I was known in the village as the small girl with big tits. And I was in front of that mirror and I realized that actually losing so much, like I had lost another 2 breast size. So my breasts were like hanging in my bra. And I thought, oh my God, I've lost the boyfriend and I've lost my body. I've lost something that I used to identify with. I just kind of like burst into tears. So I decided to try to do things, to find activities to kind of cheer me up. Yeah, because I was there in order to try to help me through that breakup. And that's when I saw that at Princeton, they were running, tango lessons. So it was the first time that I had tango lessons, and that was really, really nice. I loved that. So thank you, Princeton, for that. And I went on a visit of the university, and it was mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. The chance that students have, to attend such a university and to learn about the programs for poorer students, to know that you could choose your dorm according to, or your house, according to your diet preferences. It was just like completely crazy. These are concepts that just didn't exist in Europe at the time. And the research facilities and the grounds, it's like being in Oxford or Cambridge. It's amazing place to study. I'm a teacher, and I would just sleep on the grass, in Princeton. Talking about grass, one of the most amazing thing about Princeton are all the private houses, like immense houses, with wooden terraces. Just really, really love that architecture in the States, and the front garden or the back gardens, and having gardeners, like paid gardeners, companies come and take care of the garden. And I remember being at my friend's sunbathing and seeing one side of the garden. Hold on, I want to show you. That guy coming on his little lawnmower, like electric one, like a little car. And the houses were created so that he could, or engineered so that he could always go, kind of mow the lawn from one house to another. I mean, that's crazy. So he went and he arrives and he's just, oh, hello. And I'm like, okay, thank God I wasn't naked. And he mows the lawn, and then he goes out on the other side and goes into the neighbor's garden. I had never seen this either. That was just really, really funny. And I just loved how pretty and beautiful it all looked. So one of the things that I brought back from that trip in Princeton is this ring, actually. They had secondhand shops, and this is Buffalo Horn, and I fell in love with it. And this is the most expensive ring that I had allowed myself to buy. It cost $45 and it used to be like much more expensive, but I had never ever spent so much money on a piece of jewelry before. So that's very much cherished. That stays with me, definitely. And I love the running as well in Princeton. So I'm a runner, and that was really a cool place to run. So one of the things that I did as well was go to Washington DC and take so many tours about Washington and learn everything about Washington. And I took an exceptionally interesting tour. Bear with me, I know it's 10 minutes. You know me. That looked at the history of immigration through restaurants. And we went to different types of restaurants and tasted the food and learned about the migration of different communities, which was fascinating. And then I went back to New York. And of course, I went back to New York after the events of 9/11 and visited Ground Zero. Well, you can't help, especially when you go on a visit that's been led by someone whose relatives and whose husband actually died during 9/11. You know, you can't help feel the pain, and actually that's what I wanted to do something on the States because of what is happening right now as well with the murder, and I will call it the murder of George Floyd. And I just it kind of always astonishes me how much pain and how much sadness and hatred goes around to create so much pain and so much sadness. It's just such a stupid thing to do, to create it and to bring it upon others and not take responsibility, for it. So I am so glad, that today the charges against the police officers have changed. So one of my favorite songs ever is from Razorlight, and it's America. And I just to finish, I wanted to read the lyrics of the song, because really, for me, it really embodies what's still happening today. What a drag it is, the shape I'm in. When I go out somewhere, then I come home again. I light a cigarette because I can't get no sleep. There's nothing on the TV, nothing on the radio that means that much to me. All my life, watching America, all my life, there is panic in America. Oh, there is trouble in America. Yesterday was easy, happiness came and went. I got the movie script, but I don't know what it meant. I light a cigarette because I can't get no sleep. There is nothing on the TV, nothing on the radio that means that much to me. There is nothing on the TV, nothing on the radio that I can believe in. All my life, watching America, all my life, there's panic in America, there's trouble in America, there's panic in America. Yesterday was easy, yes, I got the news. When you get it straight, but stand up, you just can't lose. Give you my confidence, all my faith in life. Don't stand me up, don't let me down. I need you tonight to hold me. Say you'll be here to hold. All my life, watching America, all my life, there's panic in America. Oh, she's just in America. Tell me, how does it feel? So I don't know how it feels for you, but I just wanted to share this with you because I'm far away from what is happening in the States, and but it doesn't mean, and I just want to say that it doesn't mean to everyone who is concerned, and it doesn't mean to that in Europe we're not thinking about you, and I just wanted to say that. So thank you.